Hello, Nick.
Hi, Dr. Frank Ramas.
Hey, hey, how you doing? Nice to talk. Nice to talk to you, man. Nice to see you. You look good there, dude.
Thank you very much. Romascavage? Am I getting that right?
The Romascavage, like Roma, like the smell. It smells good. It has a good Roma to it. Then scavenge has a warrior. You know what I mean? Romascavage.
Romascavage. Wonderful. Wow.
Perfect. That's great.
So detailed. You've put a lot of thought into how you want people to like think and pronounce your name.
Nick, I appreciate that. I appreciate the compliment. That's, you know what? Let me tell you something. That's, it's just how it is. Just do what you got to do.
Yeah, 100%. By the way, I'm already recording. If you don't mind, I'd like to just roll right into this, if that's all right with you.
It's a pleasure to talk to you. Go anything. Go. Just shoot questions. Whatever. We'll talk about anything.
I love it. Well, my guest at this time, the voice in the room, he was a doctor for the WWE from 1993 to 2006. It is Dr. Frank Romascavage. Thank you very much for taking the time, Dr. Frank.
I appreciate it. It's a pleasure to be invited.
Now, is doctor for the WWE, was that your official title? What was your official title when you were with the company?
Well, to give you a little promo about me, I used to be an emergency room doctor in Philly, in the suburbs of Philly. So I was an emergency room doctor back in the day, and I'm originally from the Poconos in northeastern Pennsylvania.
Okay.
So after I did my stint, I was an ER doc in Philly, suburbs of Philly, and all about. I came to Pennsylvania here up in the northeastern part of PA, where I was born and reared and all that.
Sure.
And as a primary physician to do many things for all age groups and what have you. So now I'm approaching my 37th year here as a solo practitioner, totally independently, not owned by anybody. I'm 100% for the people.
Wow.
Okay, of how it was. In fact, Dwayne Johnson calls me the people's doctor. A little subtitle there, but whatever. But anyway, the bottom line is the fact that I've been here since 1984 in Pennsylvania, and I was an athlete back in the day, played all the rah-rah sports as an athlete back in my day. And finally, what happened is after I said, well, I can't do this anymore, what do I do next with my medical degree? So I became a member of the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission, okay, which to this very day, I'm the longest member in longevity, okay, for the whole state of Pennsylvania. And what I did is I first embarked on doing many things, okay? So I did many boxing shows. I did a lot of amateur boxing shows, Golden Gloves, did a lot of kickboxing. I've done many events or whatever, okay? So anyway, throughout the years, what happened is that in 1993, okay, the chairman of the Pennsylvania State Athletic Commission called me up. He said to me, Frank, do you like wrestling? I said, I freaking love wrestling. And he says, absolutely. Well, listen, we need a doctor at a particular event one night. So anyway, I said, absolutely, man. I was like, oh, this was like the best thing ever in my book. So I went there and I went there, and throughout the years I worked, did whatever it took to do anything for the WWF, which I thoroughly had the best accolade from the McMahon family all the way down. They treated me and my family like they were always superb. They're first class, always nice to us. They treat us with a lot of respect, the whole 9 yards. So anyway, make a long story short so whenever events came, like for doing physicals or whatever, I would go to numerous pay-per-views across the United States. Okay, I've been in Canada. I had depth for offers to go all over the world for whatever. Okay, and I did all the physicals, gave all the guys their shots to go around the world, gave them the physicals so they could wrestle across all the states, their blood tests, their EKGs, and they summoned me to do a lot of that. So I signed their physicals and got them basically capable and able to wrestle throughout the United States and abroad. So that's what brought me up to 93 up till that's what I did primarily for the whole time.
Wow. So
yeah.
So you were like an independent, like I guess doctor, independent contractor kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Absolutely. They would call me up and say, hey, Romascavage, we want you to this and that, whatever, or whatever. Or we need you here for a pay-per-view or in your house or something like that or whatever. And I would never say no. I would never say no. They would, the McMahon family was always good to myself and what have you. Okay. They said, hey, we have a pay-per-view, and say, like, for example, I remember one night we were in Providence, Rhode Island, and we had to get a whole bunch of physicals done. So they would always send like a limousine to my back door of my office, take me right up to Rhode Island, and I'd take a couple of nurses, and I'd take my family, and we would do all the physicals and all this and that, and get it all done for him. And it was a good relationship. Always had a good time with those guys. Very, very superb organization. I mean, they were treat us like royalty. I have nothing but the best accolade to say about the whole McMahon family.
Now, it's interesting, and that's wonderful to hear, because there are people that obviously are critical of the way Vince is, a lot of talent is not in the best physical health when they leave. Obviously, wrestling is a very taxing business. What was Vince's attitude towards the kind of day-to-day well-being of the performers when you were with them for so many years?
Well, like I said before, I knew Vince. I still, well, obviously, I still know him. His wife and his daughter and his son. Okay, they're all. It's all about business. I mean, it's a business proposition all the way down the line. I mean, Vince expects he expects the best. I mean, guys make a lot of money. They have good careers. They make a lot of money, and that's more power to them. But they're talented people. I mean, nobody really appreciates to see the stamina that these folks have. That they have to be they're on the road 300 to 350 days a week, almost, or 325 days a week out of the year, 325 days or 350 days out of the year, and they're never around their families. I mean, it's always it's just unbelievable. They have to be able to talk. They have to be able to do the walk. They have to look great. They have to look physically great. They have to look just right for the cameras, and they have to do their whole role as it's designed. Okay, and that's how it has to be. And so in other words, I always tell people, I said, these guys have to have a mega amount of talents to be a member of as a WWF for most of the time I was there, and now WWE overall. Yeah. So, but Vince, he was always, he's a business guy. I've never seen him ever demean anybody or hurt anybody or say anything nasty to him. He just expects a certain thing. But the guys and the girls all know that, hey, it's part of the life. How it is. Just like when you play for the NFL. You're going out there, you're beating yourself up, and there's consequences at the end of your career. I mean, most people say, yeah, I know that. And wrestling's no different. Those guys are, I mean, they take a beating. People say they can make all the derogatory comments about how things are or what, if it's choreographed, planned, or whatever. But man, when you hit a chair or you fall off that ladder, or you know what I mean, guess what happens? Or like Mick Foley's match. When Undertaker picked him up there in the roof, Hell in a Cell match, I was there that night.
I know you were. I wanted to ask you about that because
that was an unbelievable event. I mean, here he is. Here's Undertaker. Okay, he's 7 foot, and he puts his big right hand up there, and there's Foley up the top of his arm length. And guess what happens? He goes down 10 feet and another 10 feet. So he goes down 17, 18, 20 feet straight down. And I mean, that's the real McCoy. I mean, there's no other way to say it. The guy was severely hurt. I sewed his whole mouth up. He was bleeding a couple of teeth through his nose and all. I mean,
did you remove the teeth?
That happens all the time.
Were you the one to remove the teeth from Mick's face or no?
Well, yeah. But let me tell you something. What happened is after that was all there, I was in the ring. You'll see me in that match. I'm in the ring there. And Mick was, I mean, he got beat up. He was hurting big time. So what happened to him is the fact that he was, I said, Mick, come on. I said, we're going to get you through this. So I took him in the back in the locker room back there, teeth through the whole bit there, like whatever. Okay, we got the teeth on ice. Sewed up his mouth for him. And he laid there. And I said, Mick, man, you just got to, I'm going to sew you up real quick. I was an ER doc, like I told you. So sewing up mouths and all that was, I've done that many, many times throughout my medical career. So what happened is I sewed him up and whatever. Okay. So the teeth, we put them on ice. Right. Now, for the best irony of the whole situation is, if you ever get stuck, and I tell this about all my patients here in my practice here is whatever, if you ever get stuck where you ever need an acute dental problem and you're near Pittsburgh, you couldn't be at a better place. University of Pittsburgh has a 24/7 on-call orthodontic dental type program. Okay. So what happened is the two teeth, we put them on ice. I called up the dentist that was, or the dental orthodontic guy, whoever was on call. And I said to him over the phone, I said, do you like wrestling? He said, I love wrestling. I said, well, tonight I'm going to make your night. I said, I have Mick Foley over here. He's got his teeth. I want you to put those teeth back where they belong. And he did. So I sent him right over to the dental school after I sewed him up his whole mouth, right? And he went right over to the dental school. And guess what happened, Nick? He fixed him up. I made that guy's night. Boy, he couldn't say enough.
Time out real quick. Because there was something that happened between you sewing up Mick and him going to get the dental work. He actually came back out at the end of the show and was like a part of a little bit of the exchange there. Was there any hesitation, I guess, on your part? No.
no hesitation. No, but you have to understand one thing. These guys are superb athletes and personalities when it comes to how it has to be. Okay, and Mick's, I know him very very well. Okay, we became obviously great friends after that. Okay, and the amount of hesitation, whatever he went there, that whatever time period, the exact lag of time after I got done sewing his mouth up, I forget how many stitches I put a bunch in his mouth. Okay. In fact, if you read his book, he'll probably tell you how many I did put in his mouth.
Right.
Okay. But anyway, what the lag time was, but he did go over, shortly thereafter, a little bit later after Nick or whatever. And guess what happened? The guy put his teeth in for him.
Yeah, I guess what I'm just getting at is like, was there ever a moment like, because Mick was messed up, obviously there, right? And like, even I've been to his live show where he's kind of like, I don't know if I should have gone back out there at the end of the show,
Yeah, I mean, he surprised everybody by going back out. You're 100% right like that, but he did. That's how he is. Yeah, but I'll tell you a little sidebar story on him. So, I mean, Mick, if you ever get a chance, my practice is in northeastern Pennsylvania. I'm in a little small town called Broadensville, and I'm about 45 minutes north of Allentown, and I'm right near. I'm say maybe about half an hour away from the Jersey, where Route 80 goes into Jersey. Okay, well, anyway, Mick, okay, Mick is like he just does it. He just shows. He just does it. That's how he's made. He just does it. So anyway, he calls me up one night. Okay, I was a Saturday. I'll never forget this long as live. About 5-6 years ago, and he calls me up. He said, "Frank," he said, "Listen, I want to honor you I'm doing a comedy club routine." He says, "I want to honor you." I said, "Okay, Mick, let me get to my calendar." When I said, "Let me see my dates." I said, "Well, what, in about a couple of weeks?" He said, "No, in about 4 hours." I said, "What? In about 4 hours, right?" So I said, "You got to be kidding me." So I said, for him, anything. So I went there and it was a great time, and he honored me and all that stuff. I said, "Mick, I'm just so happy everything worked out good for you."
That's wonderful. And I was literally just I do a podcast with Sean X-Pac Waltman as well.
I know him real well. He knows me real well.
I know. I told him I was about to talk to you, and he lit up. And first of all, Sean said you're one of the good ones. First of all, he said,
appreciate that.
Said very nice things about you. And when you talk about the small town in Pennsylvania, he said that like you will accept like goods sometimes.
Yeah. I'm doing. Nick, let me tell you something. Okay. Like I told you earlier, I was an ER doc in Philly for a while. Then I went up to the Poconos. I got a great wife, and I got a phenomenal 2 great kids too. We're always a part of the routine with wrestling organization, and the McMahons always treated them well too, which was because they like the family structure. Okay. But what I'm saying to you with Sean Waltman, see, back in the day, he was, we all know who Sean was, the 1, 2, 3 kid in his heyday, how he was, X-Pac, the whole bit. Yeah. But anyway, it was so unique because my wife, we would always put all these guys up at my place. And I have a big place here. And they would stay here at my place we would go to New York, we go to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania, we go to Jersey, we would go out to Hershey, Pennsylvania. And the central point here was my office here in Broadsville, Pennsylvania. Okay. But I live right where I practice. So I have a big place and a lot of rooms or whatever. So I would have like Owen Hart here. I'd have the British Bulldog here, Sean Waltman. I'd have up to say 7 to 8 different people that would stay here for 3-4 days. And my wife would feed them all and we'd have whatever. And all their wives were happy because they knew where their husbands were at night. And it was such a good feeling because, I would always see people like, and I'd go to work every day and my hours always started like 6:37 in the morning every day. So if I would go all over the country, red eye something back, I'd have pay-per-view, I'd be back in the office next morning seeing patients. So anyway, the best thing is the fact that I would get people that were in my office sick or not feeling good. And I would say to them, I said, "Did you ever meet a wrestler?" You know what I mean? And patients say, it's fake or they're nothing or what, they always be a little bit derogatory about it, right? So I said, "Today I'm going to make your day." Okay. So anyway, I would have these guys, all the guys would come out. And they all come into my office, okay? And everybody got better just by seeing these guys show up. And what happened is the fact that everybody be taking pictures. "Oh, I love wrestling." I mean, we had more people going ape nuts about just meeting wrestlers there in my office, and they would come, and it was just unbelievable. The commitment that these guys had to help it out, ordinary people on a one-on-one basis, unbelievable, really good.
And you still have the wrestling flavor at your office, obviously. I've heard you have quite a collection of.
Yeah, and you're always invited to come up here. I did a podcast. Okay. I did that about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. What was it on the? Yeah, it was on Wicked Turtle Productions. Okay, okay. And what I'm saying to you is, we did it for a couple hours. Okay, but I've had a numerous amount of outfits that were given to me by the wrestlers. I mean, there was no strings attached. I didn't go beg, borrow, steal type attitude. I mean, an appreciation of friendships. And I mean, like you said about the 1, 2, 3 kid. I mean, and all these guys. I mean, we became very good friends, and I treated them like, I understood the magnitude of what they go through on a daily basis, and they liked it because I was good, I was respectful for them, their families, but we treated them right, and that's how it was, no strings attached. And throughout the years, I got a fair. And next time you come to Pennsylvania, okay, you must stop in.
Sure. I've been talking about visiting Bill Apter here for a little while.
Absolutely, and I know, like I told you the other day, Bill knows me.
Yeah,
Bill's good. Bill's a good guy too.
yeah, he is. Bill's a great guy.
Oh yeah.
So, kind of back to Mick here. I guess the question I'm wondering is like, was there ever a time when wrestlers who wanted to work but were like you felt were did you ever have to break that news to any of the wrestlers where it's like, I'm sorry, like I can't clear you to wrestle tonight? Was that a common thing, or did that not happen that often?
That was rarely almost. That was no, really. I can't think of the exact situation where that would have been apropos. In other words, I never had to sit on somebody and say, no, you can't do it. I mean, I would see people that they hurt their knee real bad. They would have been to an orthopedic guy somewhere, or I mean, something of that magnitude. Okay, but nothing. Or if you're somebody that got hurt in a match, you talk to them and see how they go. And I would keep on them on a daily basis by talking to them over the phone. It was one of those type of relationships to make sure they were good. And if they weren't good, they wanted to see somebody. We always had everybody's best interest. In other words, if there was a particular type of problem, okay, we give them to the right specialist.
What were your thoughts when Mick Foley was getting hit like 17 times in the head by The Rock? Like, what was going through your mind when you see something like that play out? That kind of brutality.
Well, it is what it is. You know what I mean? A lot of times, these are two highly professional athletes that are, they do it their way. I mean, there's so much you can say and so much you can do. Do I approve everything? No, but stuff still goes on. You examine, they say this and that, and they'll be straight with you. And you know what I mean? But the amount of crushing appearances, how it might appear, isn't as really bad as it was in real life.
Okay. So you were also there when Steve Austin broke his neck, am I right?
Yep, I was there. That was in New Jersey. Yep, East Rutherford. I was there. That was in 19. Let me see. That was. Oh hell, when was that? 1997, I think it was.
97 or 98.
Yeah, 97. Yeah, I think it was 1990. Yeah, you know what? You know what? I'll give you an exact date. It was, you know what? It was. Yeah, I think that was 97. Yeah, you know what? That was August 3rd of 97. Okay, because I had the only reason I know that is I had a couple of little notes written down on dates, okay, from other podcasts I did. Okay. And I said, when was that? And here I had it was August 3rd of 97. Okay. And that's when Owen Hart, the whole calamity of what happened to Steve when he hurt his neck. And Steve was hurt pretty good. Okay. And so what happened is when he hurt his neck, okay, I took Steve to the hospital myself. We took him by ambulance. And it was just Steve and I on the back of that ambulance. And it was in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And I'll tell you what, that little hospital, I forget the name of that hospital, but that was one of the best hospitals I ever was at my whole life. I mean, I walked into the hospital, Steve's in the back, coming out of the ambulance. And it was unbelievable. I talked to the head administrator there, the hospital. They knew we were coming. I said, listen, and they brought people in. They didn't stay there all night. It was one of those type of ordeals at this hospital. So I said to the hospital administrator, I said, listen, I need this, that, and that done. She said, Doc, whatever you want, just tell me. I'll have the right people come in. Within 2 hours, we had it all done. We had everything, all the scans done, everything done. Because that's, as an ER doc, I like it that way myself. So anyway, Steve was done, went back on the ambulance. We went back to, East Rutherford, back to the arena. And the following day, they put me on Monday Night Raw, where I talked to Sergeant Slaughter. You'll see me on Monday Night Raw. Sergeant Slaughter interviewed me the next day on Monday Night Raw.
Right. Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And so how was Steve in the ambulance? You say it was just the two of you in that ambulance. What was that ride like?
Well, the ride was a nice, sincere ride. I mean, Steve was obviously apprehensive. What's my future? How bad am I going to be? And all this and like I tried to reassure him. I said, listen, the only way we're going to find out is we get a bunch of tests done, see how you are, put yourself on the back burner there, lay low for a little bit, and let's get you better. Then have some specialists see him after the fact. And that's what happened.
Oh my God. And so That's crazy. Were you surprised that Steve was able to rebound and keep going and get hotter? I mean, he even got hotter after that. You know, he just worked.
He did. I mean, yeah, but see, like I said earlier about these other guys, you're dealing with a special type of person. I mean, you're dealing with people that are. Remember, they're on the road 325 to 340 days a year. Okay, they're never at home. All they do is just go. They have to perform a certain way day in and day out. Excuse me. So the magnitude is off the wall. How he is. Was I surprised? Maybe a little bit, but I know Steve Austin. He's a very strong, internalized type of fellow.
So I hear a lot from guys when they say, if I don't bump for a while, it hurts more. So you're saying you think when you get in this zone of like 300 plus days a year that you're on the road and you're working constantly, does the body, I mean, as a doctor, I mean, does the body just adapt? Does it change? Is it capable of taking more punishment? Like what?
Well, that's a great question. Okay, the best and most sincere, honest answer to the point of that is who knows. Who knows? There's some guys, some guys can do it, some guys can't do it. I mean, why is it that a guy breaks his ankle and he can go out there and play a football game to the end of the quarter and then the next day he wakes up, he can't walk or what? I mean, it's that type of mentality. But these guys, they're, like I said before, they're special type of athletes, and my hat's off to every one of them.